Good evening, afternoon, checking in. I think I'm a mosquito. I got bit by a mosquito on my forehead today, but checking in, seeing how everyone is doing. Jupiter is direct. Sun's ingress into Libra. I believe we're starting the fall equinox. Hey, Chrissy Poo, how are you? I believe we're starting the fall equinox. I don't stay up to date with all the Wiccan equinox stuff, but yeah, that's all that's going on. Love spell tips: do divination first. Always do divination before any working, but especially before love spells. Can't wait till my reading in December. Looking forward to speaking with you. Nick explains it all. But yeah, there's many things you can do in love spells. It's funny because last time I was on here, I was talking about that feng shui. Oh, my eyes, but feng shui, when you put the red ribbon in the mattress, there's also, putting the person's picture behind the bedpost facing outward. But again, do divination first. There's more to it than putting that picture facing out, which is the facing outward towards the bedpost, but that's one of the spells. Hey, melanated medicine woman, Carlotta Apino, hello. Loving your lives. Thank you so much. I'm not drunk tonight. I haven't been drinking. Hey, Carified, how are you? I'm not all full of chit chat. Curse removal tips. I don't know about curse removal tips, but if you're no longer dating them and you want to be detached from them, get black walnuts and boil them and wait for it to cool down and bathe in the black walnut bath for 3 days straight. I'm sure there's a scripture that can go with that. Probably Isaiah 44, even though that's more of a road opening one. It'll still kind of blockbuster all the energy that you have connected with them. Get a black candle and that black walnut boil going and bathe in it after you cool down. Can you talk more about the divination and the feng shui? Well, yeah, there's the book called, hey, Keontae, there's a book called 10-Minute Feng Shui that I really like, and it's really basic, really easy. It literally is 10-minute stuff for feng shui you can do. Hey, the Soul Sage, how are you? Literally 10-minute stuff for feng shui you can do, and part of it I was recently talking about. Well, first, I don't know if you can see. Oh no, I took it down. What happened to that? It's so weird. Well, anyways, I had a frame in here of a picture, and it had currency in it, and part of the frame, part of the feng shui is you face, it's kind of like when you go to restaurants, especially Asian restaurants, they have $1 or their first dollar, so to speak, in a picture frame, but that's good feng shui. As well as putting 2 red ribbons underneath the mattress, and that attracts love or a lover, new lover. Dogwood root is for protection, right? I was looking for the post on your page. Yeah, I didn't make a post on my page, it's more so on Twitter, and also also on Hoodoo Gardens page. But dogwood is known to keep the law away, or keep police away, and that's something that us people of color definitely need now more than ever. And the inspiration comes from an article in not the Examiner, but it was a North Carolina newspaper from 1901 in North Carolina. It was talking about how Dr. Campbell, who was a hoodoo spiritual worker in North Carolina at the time, gave one of his clients dogwood root wrapped in red ribbon, and it kept the law away. But it specifically talks about that in the newspaper article. Black walnut, been seeing it everywhere. Yeah, the house we used to live in here in Louisiana had a big walnut tree out front. And my great-grandmother used to always send us, when she was alive, she would always send us boxes and boxes of walnuts from the tree. It's on Bernstein Street, over on Hollywood. Hey Travis, how are you? Hey Bruja Goddess, how are you? Yeah, Millennial Soul Food is in the house. Isadora Noir, hello. Favorite love spells? I mostly shy away from love spells just because they're so problematic. If you see the most recent post that I got from Millennial Soul Food, it talks about Jaguar Wright. It was like crazy. A Jaguar Wright, how she was talking about how her friend. And the boot is actually a real place. The place that she shoots pool, or was shooting pool at. That's actually a real place. In Shreveport, out in Shreveport. But anyway. So I'm based off of that, I'm gonna say that her story is true. I've never seen or heard of a hoodoo house in Shreveport, but that's debatable. I haven't been all over Shreveport like that. But anyway, she was saying how she put that stop cheating spell on her man, and he started beating her up instead of all the prostitutes. Yeah, love spells are dangerous. Hey, creativity is me. How are you? Only self-love, absolutely. But yeah, I think the first love spell I did, I kept my ex's H&M tank top in a jar, and not even knowing, just spiritually, I just knew to do that. And I put in, I wrote it on paper, not saying that this worked specifically, but in 2014, this is what I did. And then this was when I was, really fresh off the boat in terms of what I was doing. Not really knowing any better, but long story short, I kept their red tank top in a jar, and I just used to, meditate on it every single day. And, me and this person hadn't, seen each other since 2011, and in between that time, we hadn't really spoken. But anyway, it worked. We ended up being able to go to Mardi Gras together. And then I did the spell at Marie Laveau's grave. And we ended up moving in together in Sacramento. So, that's the initiation or start of this practice for me. And more so self-discovery for me. Big old forehead. I need a haircut. But yeah, I don't know what told me to keep that tank top in a jar, and it had been washed since I got it in 2011. I don't know what told me once I got down to Louisiana to keep that tank top in a jar, but, one thing led to another. Part of me thinks that it was just more so kind of my Saturn return aligning for me to eventually let that situation go, that infatuation go with that particular person. And half of it is, the spiritual work and whatnot. But a lot of it, I feel like, was because I was very much head over heels for a very long time for that person, and then my Saturn return rolled around, and then that situation happened. Mardi Gras was a really fun experience, but it definitely came with its bad side. It definitely came with its sweet and its sour, that's for sure. Yeah, very much a Sagittarius rising trait, the big forehead. Hey Ariel Gangsta, how are you? Sugar B843, how are you? Where can I find good, reliable information for beginners on astrology, or it all depends on information? Always start with whatever messages that your guides and ancestors give you. Definitely start an altar before you listen to anyone else, and then ask your ancestors and guides to align you with the right community of people that will steer you in the right way. For me, I jumped into this situation head first. I was in Let's Talk Magic on Facebook, and, going through all that drama when I was first starting in 2015. And, you'll get twisted and turned in many different ways that aren't necessarily the right way, but you'll eventually more so find your path when your paths are obstacle free. That's when you're more so on the right track. Doesn't mean everything is always going to be positive. Anything in life, you'll be constantly tested. A lot of the tests that I go to, what Bible verse works for getting a new job? Luke 11 verse 9, or Luke verse 11. Luke 11:9. I know, and Psalm 28. or 26, one of those. But I know for sure Luke 11:9. And keep Master Root in your left pocket, some Lemurian in your left pocket, and some Pyrite in your left pocket. You don't have to have them in a bag together. Let's Talk Magic is like this group. It has like 26,000 people on Facebook, and it was started about this girl, and she's the cousin of my friend Sahara, who I went to college with. But Let's Talk Magic is this group on Facebook, and I don't know. Back then, it was really rowdy. Like, it's like how Twitter is now, where like people are very angsty, and they talk, like, you'll post something that's very much kind of run of the mill, like innocent, and then next thing you know, you'll put your foot down, put your phone down, pick your phone back up, and you're all kind of phobic this and abuser that, and all kind of names, but a child of God. Like, Let's Talk Magic was crazy, but it's like they'll just bag on you at least back then. They would just bag on you if you use dollar store candles, or if the candles you had white people on them. It was just something else back then. Guides, spirits that walk with you, who has your head. You would only find out that information from a madrina or a padrino, or some type of spiritual parent, because I'm sure there are books that might tell you that information, but it'll never be accurate until you are going through the process with someone who has gone through the process themselves in person, who's someone who's initiated in telling people who has so and so's who has certain people's head. I plan on doing that. I definitely plan on creating a Bible with associated scriptures. Hello, Goddess Amar. It's a good court case spell. Depends on what's happening in the court case. I'm known for my simple spells, but there's a lot of things that are very much tried and true. And it's funny because a simple spell is eating black eyed peas and collard greens and cornbread on New Year's. There's no jumping on one foot on New. You got to do with that spell. That's a prosperity working. But anyway, good court case spell. Let's say that you're going in front of the judge. Make sure that you have someone who loves you and who cares about you, and that honestly wants to see positive outcome. Make sure that they're at home and they got a pot of red beans boiling on the stove. And what they are supposed to do is have the name of the judge on unlined paper, put it inside the pot of red beans. That way the judge can hear your side of the story and hear your side without bias. And typically that works in regards to court cases. But again, with court case spells, there's a lot of details that goes into that. Obviously divination for one, before you do anything. But yeah, that's one of those easy workings. A lot like black eyed peas and collard greens and cornbread on New Year's, which is a hoodoo prosperity working. But let anyone else tell it. You gotta drop down and do the matrix, and spit at the full moon first, and then talk to the star. Walk around with the Star of David for 7 straight days, and you have to do all these extra steps. But a lot of people, especially hoodoo workers or spiritual workers that say that it needs to be like that, a lot of them like that busy work. Like I always say, if you're making your offerings like you are supposed to, and you're doing your divination before you do anything, then your work will work regardless. Seriously, some will tell you really got to drop down and do the matrix and pop it on a handstand and all these extra steps. But it's like, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, drop down and get your ego on. And no, I definitely see the passive aggressive posts on Twitter every now and then. I definitely felt I definitely got, when I went to San Francisco with those other 2 spiritual workers who will remain unnamed, unless it's a problem, come see me, come find me, but who will remain unnamed. I went to San Francisco with those 2 dudes, and it's just like, it was just a lot. but they were just very much, they're both earth signs, one a Virgo, one a Capricorn. And they were very detail oriented. They're very much very based in details and steps. Where me being a water sign dominant, you more so kind of feel your way through the spiritual situation, as opposed to like, you know, like doing all kind of extra shit like they were doing. Twitter fingers, absolutely. Do divination before you. The situation sounds complicated. I need to free my friend from jail and keep the other friend in the country. Seriously, can you recommend something? Yeah, it depends on what they did. Honestly, a lot of people will just take your money saying that they can free so-and-so from jail. But it's like, if they're in there for just cause, like if they're out here supplying the streets with drugs when they're smart enough to do something else. And, a lot of people, and not to sound like I'm judging, but a lot of people do that based off of peer pressure or other things when, they don't even need to, they can do it and stop it. But, or if they murdered someone, if they know that they were in the wrong, and then they ask needs to be in prison, then they need to, I do got smoke for them two people. And it's a long story as the reason why I say that, but if there's a reason why that person's in jail, in prison, and they need to be there, some people need to be locked up. That's why, I feel like a lot of the people that were talking about abolish the prison system, they needed to be more clear on what abolishing the system was. It's also the people that talk about defunding the police. They needed to work on the wording and make it more clear as to what defunding meant, because a lot of people took it as them wanting to get rid of the police system. And no, we need the police because everyone ain't right. Everyone ain't wrapped too tight. There's a lot of people, without that situation, there would be no consequence for bad behavior. Some debts have to be paid, absolutely. Yeah, when you're water dominant, you don't more so kind of need all those extra steps. You just feel your way through. Either it is or it isn't. Like the NDRE song. There's no something for the truth. There's no proof for the truth. Either it is or it isn't. Cinnamon whisk brooms, you keep it at the front door or near the front door, and it brushes or sweeps in prosperity into your home, or more so sweeps away things that block or energies that block prosperity, but always sweep before sundown. Thank you so much, Keev. You're asking for the BT killers to be arrested, but to abolish the police, people need to be specific. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who's been buying their plants, their spiritual plants, their Arasa con Toro, their Siempre Viva, their Abre Camino. This will be my third time buying Abre Camino. I feel like the only way you can really get an Abre Camino plant from that Amazon situation is if you do the express 2-day shipping, and it ends up coming out to $70. That's the only way those plants come out, or at least the Abre Camino. I don't know what anyone else did. I know that Chicken Dallas, Sea Siren, Black Sea Siren, she got hers pretty fresh. And my friend Tiffany, I believe she got her Abre Camino pretty fresh. But anytime Abre Camino comes to Louisiana, mine has been dead, and I end up having to rehab it. Yeah, I don't know who this is requesting me. I've never seen your name. I'm very conscious. I'm a Scorpio. I don't just, add. I like having control over the narrative. That's why I like Instagram better than Twitter. And I was just having this conversation to where it's like Instagram, you have a lot more control over your narrative as opposed to Twitter. It's like someone can retweet something and completely diss you and more so kind of create this whole bubble of public opinion based off of their opinion about you, and people will really run with it. It's very clicky on Twitter, whereas Instagram, you can control the narrative about you. So no, it's not that I'm scared. I'm just very conscious about my platform. What's the best way to work with Abre Camino? I just started using it to dress my candles. Yes, meant for road opener, road opening word. That's what it means in Spanish. What is there to know about me? Oh, okay. I've never seen Saeed DeMario, but yes, I'm in Louisiana. I'm in Natchitoches. What are some good spiritual plants for beginners on your site? Rose of Jericho is good. Rompe Sadagüe is good. Definitely repels all the bad, evil energy. What else that I have in that Amazon store? I don't know. Not that I sell there, but everything doesn't come on that store, and there's a lot of things I don't like having in that store. Like the aloe vera is way too expensive. Like there's a lot of stuff that they have on Amazon that I feel guilty about adding to that situation, but you have to constantly add new products, and because so many things sell out, and it's like, but I don't want to take them off the Amazon store, the storefront, because I don't end up not having anything in there. Neptune and Sag in the second house. Very much an issue with boundaries in regards to finances, money, things that you value. It's working, but it's not fast enough. More so, make an offering to your guides with red palm oil, and wash your sidewalks with creolina, and that should get them to go. Yeah, intuitively, I know not to just be adding or accepting requests from just anybody. Like, I can definitely feel a vibe. And there's nothing to really about me to really see through, to be honest. Like, because I come with all my receipts. My name being drama, but that's only with other spiritual workers. You never heard of me, not refunding or any of that stuff. Sour jars really work? I'm not too sure. I've never done a sour jar because I've never been in a situation or a predicament where I've needed to do one. More so only put people in the freezer, but that's it. I've been well, Star Kitten. How are you? If you have an altar, you just, take a small cup, almost probably like a shot glass, and then put the red palm oil in there. Or you can dress your candles with the red palm oil, because red palm oil speeds things up. Red palm oil was an offering to Queen Nefertari in ancient Egypt, and they even found, when they excavated her tomb, as they often do in Egypt, they found red palm oil among other offerings to her. Freezer spells with that ACV. Yeah, I've never really gotten into souring jars. And I really, really do, especially since I've gotten back home to Louisiana, I really, really do sweetening jars because there's no one to really sweeten. We're all on lockdown. So I don't really interact with people to need to have to do And I'm not saying that they don't work. I'm not saying sour jars don't work. I haven't been in situations where I've had to do them. Is there a gain weight spell? Just drink a lot. That's how I gain weight. Drink a lot of sugary drinks. Drink a lot of alcoholic sugary drinks. Gain some weight. Since 2014, Stone Cold Love. Or Stone Cold Lay. I think that's what it is. Stone Cold Lay. Congratulations. Happy to hear that, Supernova Jenny. And good luck with graduation. I plan to go back to school myself. I don't know what, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Everyone wants me to go to the medical field. I kind of like working in the medical field, or I've recently had an interest, but I used to work in the medical field too. My last job was at LAX, and I really enjoyed that. So it would be kind of hard to peel me, but being that we're in North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius, long distance travel isn't really necessary. So, you won't see long distance travel coming back till November 2021. Yeah, and there's definitely always people sick, especially with all these pandemics and whatnot. I see you in business. I see me in business too. No, I don't. Okay, so there is very much a big debate about what age we're in. But, most, especially the astrological community, still says that we're in the age of Pisces. And that we won't be in the age of Aquarius until like 23 something or 2567, whatever year they're saying, but it's very much far off. I've been in the medical field for 15 years. Yeah, it really depends on what you do in the medical field. Like, I'm not interested in nursing, so to speak, even though it's not a bad job, but I know you kind of have to start off with being a CNA. And that's why I initially went to do when I was 20, and I didn't like that, and ended up switching to something else. Do you use sidereal and Western? I've recently been open to working with sidereal. And I apply both. You can work with both. There's actually a really good video that Marin did earlier. Marin Altman, the astrologer. She's also like this vegan chick on YouTube. Marin Altman, she was talking about what the definition of sidereal and tropical and what it measures and why she chooses tropical over sidereal is really informative. The houses are the same, but the planets and the signs won't be the same in sidereal. For example, in sidereal, I'm a Cancer moon, a Libra sun, and a Scorpio rising. And in some ways, it still kind of makes sense. A lot of it, in regards to sidereal, you have to kind of unlearn the definitions of the signs for them to make sense. And it kind of makes sense because in a lot of ways, Leos can be very similar to Cancers, where they're very sensitive and they need attention, they need reassurance. And so, very much, and I think like in 1100 years, the signs are even going to go back even further. So it's like if you're born November 5th, for example, you'll be a Virgo, because that's when the stars will continue to move back, and we'll be so kind of out of whack. Thank you, Pruitt, for joining us. Pruitt can do it. This is strange, but I'm getting messages. Okay, Callie Love, inbox me. Leo, Sun, Taurus, Moon, and Western, Cancer, Sun, Aries. So relate to both. Yeah, I'm beginning to relate to both. Being a Libra Sun in sidereal, from what I know on sidereal, I can see how I'm diplomatic, super diplomatic. I definitely play both sides of the fence. Even in politics at times. Like, I can see the perspective of the Republican Party, but I'm always, true blue Democrat for the most part, but there are problematic parts of the Democratic Party. But, if there's any side that's hypocritical, like, for example, this whole situation with Mitch McConnell and the Supreme Court Justice, and, that whole situation with Obama and whatnot, and how he wouldn't let a Supreme Court justice, hey, oh, that's karma, how he wouldn't let a Supreme Court justice because it was a election year. But here we are 43 days before an election, and they're trying to rush in a new justice. So, there's definitely, what did I miss? Alejandrix. Not a whole lot. Just a troll, just an operative from Ops. And just talking about love spells and divination and how I got started. All government is no good. And see, okay, good example of me being a Libra sun in sidereal, because I agree with that partly, but I definitely feel that, a society without government, there's definitely benefits to having government and to having structure and to having order. Like a lot, how people are living a lot longer. Like if we didn't have government situations, programs put in place, who would take care of them? If we didn't have government, if your house burned down, all these candles we have lit, the house burned down, government takes care of the fire department or the police department. And yeah, that's problematic, but there are a lot of things that government takes care of. So it serves its purpose, but it's the part of government that serves its purpose without bias, without more so kind of a agenda. The agenda part of government is the problematic part, but the more so service part of government is super important. No boogers, honestly. Yeah, you want a structured government. For example, when I was living in Los Angeles, had it not been for Medi-Cal, I'd be in so much medical debt. And so when astrologists say that this is the end of America as we know it, what exactly does that mean? Well, every, what's it called? Nation, or more so kind of empire, only lasts for 250 years. With the Pluto return that's happening in 2022 and 2023, Pluto will be at the exact point it was in July 4th, 1776, and it's going to be returning back to the exact placement in which it was back then. And so with that return, it's kind of like a Saturn return, but what we know about Pluto is destruction. It's destroy and rebuild. It's like the Tower card. It's uncomfortable destruction. It's plutocracy. It's big business to a degree, but very much large scale destruction. And when it comes to that return, that's what's supposed to happen with America. And as you can see, like the example I used earlier, it's kind of like, with the Native American people, with the indigenous people, how there was so much erasure with them. And karmically, spiritually, this is them coming back to reclaim what's theirs. For a really good example of that is how we have erased, finally, Christopher Columbus, and we are replacing that with Indigenous Peoples Day. Many parts of America have that. We're taking down all these Confederate statues that definitely did no justice to anyone but white people in this country. And that's part of the Pluto return. We're not exactly at the Pluto return, but it's coming down the mountain. In regards to that, with the removal of Christopher Columbus, with the removal of the Confederate statues, with Black Lives Matter, and all the pipeline stuff in regards to Native American reservations, with more so kind of people paying attention to, the drug problems that are going on with the Native American reservations, and how the Black community back in the day, we had the crack problem, but you got parts of the agenda part of the government that's feeding crystal meth to Native American reservations, and it's like it's an indirect way of erasing them. So, but I mean, because there's so much of a spotlight on that now, it's a part of the Pluto return. Like I said, it's coming down the mountain. It isn't exact, but Imagine parents paying tuition for kids from PK through. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean. With the yeah, you have to pay for school, health care, no roads in some countries. Yeah. The organized part of the government is super important, but the agenda part of the government, like taking women's rights away, or in regards to reproductive health, the next state over in Mississippi, there's girls still laying down in a tub of mustard seed in Mississippi in order to have an abortion. To not keep the baby because they can't afford it. But and the reason why they do that is because you literally can get arrested and serve time for getting an abortion in Mississippi. So the next state over, there's all that stuff going on. And it's like, that's a part of what's going on with America. We need certain parts of government to stay out of those situations. The funny thing about, the right-wing conservatives is that they always want small government, unless it has to do with women's rights or gay rights or back in the day segregation, things of that nature. And people always say, oh, well, it was the Republicans that freed the slaves. Yeah, but part of that was they needed to keep slaves needed to be able to buy land and be productive in society. And at the same time, what has the Republican Party done lately? Yeah, the Democratic Party isn't necessarily the most productive in some ways, but in comparison, based off of the agendas that very much serve communities of color, one is a lot less problematic than the other, we'll say that. I do have a new lover. Yeah, I don't really talk about it. Do you have a new lover? Alejandrex? But yeah, no, it actually did work, surprisingly. In a very surprising... It wasn't anyone new, but it was someone I know, but in a very different way. Things definitely took a different turn. I'll say that. My arm is starting to hurt. Ouch. Hold this phone. Hello, I love Wade Lynn. What chant? It was Song of Songs, verse 8-7. 8-7. Now tell us about it, Alejandrex. How did it go for you? Yeah, Song of Songs, or Song of Solomon, 8, verse 7. You say it 3 times in a row at the same time every single day, and in 3 weeks you'll have a new lover. That's the folklore of it. Yeah, very unexpected. I think it's misleading. Yeah, Song of Songs in the Bible, verse 8. Verse 7. 8 verse 7. Song of Songs in the Bible. It's like 5 pages in the Bible. It's not even a real chapter, really. But it's called Song of Songs, and it's 8 verse 7. Or Song of Solomon, yeah. Solomon 8 verse 7 3 times. You have to be consistent for 3 days, same time. Black Sea Siren, how are you? At the same time for 3 consecutive days, and in 3 weeks, allegedly, you'll have a new lover. Nice to see you on here, Black Sea Siren. You said Song of Songs, chapter 8. No, it's Song of Songs. Like a song that you sing. Or Song of Solomon. In some Bibles, it's Song of Solomon. In some Bibles, it's Song of Songs. Yeah, Song of Solomon. Just in general, no. Well, the rumor is, or the folklore is, it'll bring you someone new. Or someone in a new light, and it won't necessarily be who you want. It'll definitely be someone new, not someone you want in particular. Oh no, come join us. I'll be missing all the lives because of my baby, but I'm here. You live in Dallas, don't you, Black Sea Siren? Everyone check out Black Sea Siren. She sells oils and other products. She also does readings. Make sure you check her out. Yes, 3 days in a row, same time every single day. So at that, when we were doing that, we did it at 2:22, and didn't even check the planetary hours because I could definitely have a result in it. So what you would do is, if you really want extra credit, to earn extra credit, do it at the hour of Venus every single day, at the hour of Venus 3 days in a row, and you'll probably have a lot better results. Or if you did it at the Jupiter hour, same time same planetary hour every single day, then you probably would get a whole lot of new lovers because Jupiter is expansion. So what else is new? What else we got going on? If you want someone in particular, then you need to do divination and have a spiritual worker work with you in regards to attracting that relationship that you look for. The way you said I do readings and I'm not doing them yet, and my dad been on my ass about opening up. Oh, I thought you did readings already. I don't know why I thought you did readings, but when you do, make sure you hit up Black Sea Siren. At the hour of Venus or hour of Jupiter, you do Song of Solomon, 8 verse 7, 3 times in a row. And it's allegedly, the folklore behind it, the story behind it, is that, I don't know why I'm picking up my hair so much. The folklore behind it is that it attracts a new lover within 3 weeks. It's a drag. No, doing readings definitely it can be draining, that's for sure. That's why I do no more than 2 a day, just because a lot of people have really heavy stuff going on. And it's like, to expel all that and cleanse yourself of all that, it can get time consuming, or more so mentally and spiritually consuming, energetically consuming. So that's why I only do about 2 readings a day, max. Yeah, there's I have it posted on my page in regards to the planetary times, but there's also a website. I believe you can go to astro-seek.com and it'll tell you about the planetary hours, or you can just Google planetary hours because it differs based off of your location as well. Kind of like, with your birth time, you could be a completely different rising sign in Florida than you would at the same time in Los Angeles. When you do magic, even if it's for good purpose, it still comes back to you in a bad way. Can you explain this to me? I don't understand that. I don't necessarily know the reasoning or why whoever said that. You definitely have to be specific, that's for sure, when you practice more positive magic. For example, I wanted additional incomes. I now have additional incomes. However, there's things that are ethically displeasing about one of those extra incomes. The Amazon situation, I wish people who work for Amazon got better benefits and it wasn't so stringent in regards to their work environment, so it wasn't such a hostile work environment. I definitely have a lot of guilt in regards to that situation, and that's an example of why I should be more specific with my intentions in regards to doing that. Yeah, for attraction, say no harm to none, and if it's in God's will, absolutely. No harm to none, you shouldn't get bad karma. Yeah. So I'm just watching my Chrisleys Knows Best, one of my favorite shows with the Chrisley family. Just wanted to hop on, say hello to everyone. See how everyone's doing. You know, remember to give your offerings, stay spiritually cleansed, take your spiritual baths, keep good energy, show gratitude every single day. Should have brushed my teeth before I got in here. I ate all that bean soup earlier. It's all over my mouth. But anyway, an attraction spell for business is Acts 8 in the Bible. You read the whole thing every single day before you open for business. It's Acts, ACTS, Acts 8. Grandma cracks me up too. Yeah, I don't get too deep into the autumn equinoxes. You know, I'm more of a moon person, more of a planetary person. I'm more of a, you know, whatever spirit leads me, but I've never really gotten into, Acts 8. Yep, that's the one. I've never gotten into the whole Mabon, you know, Wicca practices, autumn equinox practices. You know, I'm very conscious of it, but I've never gotten into it like that. Thank you so much, sweet elegance. I appreciate that. Yeah, the shift is kind of rough because, you know, Sun is opposing, will be opposing Mars. I forget what day, but it'll be opposing Mars. Retrograde in Aries. And then you got all the Capricorn shit going on. I pray for babies that are being born right now. Just because, you know, they definitely come with their share of challenges. And they definitely more than likely have to work really, really hard to accomplish what it is they ever set out to accomplish. Doesn't mean that they won't accomplish it, but they'll definitely have their work cut out for them. My pleasure, Steph Soul Baby. So yeah, well, I guess that concludes our evening. But yeah, keep your energy pure, keep your energy cleansed. Thank you for catching my live. I love all of your energy as well. Show gratitude every single day. Be peaceful. The flower for the High John Conqueror is the Morning Glory. The flower for the High John. That's why purple is associated with High John. It isn't just because, you know, High John the Conqueror was an African prince and purple is associated with royalty. It's more so because of the flower, the color of the flower that's associated with the root. But yeah, thank you all for watching. It's been fun. This will be on YouTube. So everything I said, just run over to my YouTube channel, watch it there, and enjoy.